What Makes a Leader? Written by Daniel Goleman and presented to you by Sarah Cook, me. So Daniel Goleman wrote a book in 1995 talking about emotional intelligence, and it discusses the importance of having emotional intelligence in the business world. He researched over 188 large global companies and found that while many traditional qualities of leadership, such as intelligence, determination, having a vision, which were important as entry-level requirements, but were insufficient for success without emotional intelligence. He found many ties between emotional intelligence and measurable business results. He compared 3 types of capabilities in the workforce: purely technical, which is Excel, things like that; cognitive abilities, such as being able to analyze things; and then emotional intelligence. And he got together with many psychologists and senior managers at different companies, outlined what capabilities they saw in outstanding business performers. And they interviewed a lot of individuals and tested for all these 3 different capabilities and found that emotional intelligence was 2 times more important than your purely technical and cognitive abilities. And when you got even higher up in management, emotional intelligence was even more important, since everyone was pretty much on the same playing field when it came to technical abilities. So what is emotional intelligence? Goleman breaks that down into 5 different entities of what makes emotional intelligence. So you have self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. So self-awareness. That is basically having a deep understanding of your emotions, strengths, weaknesses, needs, and what drives you. Someone who is self-aware is neither overly critical nor unrealistically hopeful. They're honest with themselves and the people around them. They're aware of their feelings and how they affect people, and they understand the values and goals that they have for their lives. So how do you recognize someone with self-awareness? They're very honest. They have a lot of candor. They can assess themselves realistically. They also sometimes have a self-deprecating sense of humor, and they really like to have constructive criticism to improve themselves. They're also very good at making judgment calls, which is very important in the business world, so that really helps them with management positions. So knowing yourself is very important. Second is self-regulation, and that's being able to control your impulses and then channel them into useful ways in the workforce. They can create an environment of trust and fairness, which decreases arguing and politics in the workforce and increases productivity. Eventually, this kind of environment can be seen at all levels of the organization, not just your top, but it has to originate from the top in order for that to work. Which is your leadership roles. People are less tempted to leave this environment. People with self-regulation can adapt to change well. They will suspend their judgment. They'll ask questions. They'll listen to executives and be able to adapt well to those new changes. How do you recognize someone who has self-regulation? They're usually very reflective, thoughtful, they're comfortable with change and ambiguity, and they have a lot of integrity. They have the ability to say no, which you definitely want in a leader, is to have all these qualities. Third, motivation. That's being driven to go beyond what's expected of you, to seek out and achieve something just for the sake of achieving it. They have passion for their work. They seek out challenges. They love to learn, and they take pride in a job well done. They're eager to explore new approaches, and they're always raising the bar not only for themselves, but the people around them. They're optimistic, and they are committed to an organization, which is what you definitely want to see in a leader. It's being committed to that organization. And when you're setting a high bar for yourself, you're also doing that for the organization, which again, you want in a leader. Motivation is seen to be very contagious. So that's why a strong leader needs to have a lot of motivation. to spread throughout their subordinates. And you want leaders who are also optimistic and they're committed. Fourth is empathy, which is usually like not seen as like business-like and kind of out of place, but it's actually very important. Leaders need to be able to consider the feelings of their employees when they're making tough business decisions. It's important to recognize there's three reasons why it's important to have empathy. It's increasing because of increase in uses of having teams in the workplace, globalization, and the need to retain talent. So a team leader must be able to sense and understand the viewpoints of everyone around them and sense their emotions and be able to work with them in order to come to a consensus among team members. Globalization, cross-cultural dialogue can easily be misinterpreted. So a leader who is empathetic to other people will sense body languages and different body cues to let them know when someone is upset. And third, to retain talent. When good people leave a company, they're going to take company knowledge with them. So leaders who are empathetic want to coach and mentor this talent, and that ends up increasing their performance and increasing job satisfaction. Someone who's empathetic is going to get into people's heads and understand how to help them most effectively and give strong feedback. Empathetic leaders sympathize with people around them and improve their companies in more subtle ways than you might expect, but it's very important. And lastly is social skills. And social skills is really just a combination of all four of the emotional intelligence cues. But it's probably the most important and the biggest indicator of someone with strong emotional intelligence. So social skills is basically being friendly to other people, but having a purpose behind that, and wanting to, being able to motivate and move people in a direction that you want, which is key for management, because management is all about getting and leading people is all about, getting work done through other people. So when you can manage relationships effectively, that's going to really show how strong of a leader you are. So how can you recognize someone with strong social skills? They'll have a lot of friends and acquaintances. They can usually find common ground in other people and build that rapport, and just be able to have a casual conversation and understand people around them. So a leader's task is to get work done, and having the social skills makes that possible. So emotional intelligence can be learned, but it's not easy. However, in the long run, emotional intelligence does pay off not only for an individual, but for the company or the organization as a whole.